Welcome to ACCQ Continuing Professional Education. This time we're going to talk about an interesting subject about income taxation. So, magpag-uusapan natin dito about income taxation of a resident citizen. So, we will talk about the salient features and some of the of course the revisions under the train law, as well as those that are included as well as not included in the computation of the income tax. So stay tuned after this. So just like what we said a while ago, we're going to talk about tax on income from employment of a resident citizen of the Philippines. So ito yung mga changes under the train law. So as we can see here, ito yung graduated tax table. So nag-ano siya yung threshold nag-increase from a previous 10,000 to 250,000. So ayan, so if it's not over 250,000, so there will be no tax. So halimbawa yung kinikita mo halimbawa sa loob ng isang taon, hindi maumabot sa 250,000 yung gross, or hindi sumobra, not over 250,000. 250,000, which is the threshold, pwede pa yon. Ano pa siya? Exempted pa siya sa tax, wala siyang tax. Pero pagka over, let's say 250,000, let's say 251,000 or 250,000 and 001 pesos, may tax na yon, yung piso na yon, no? But that's oh my God, that's speaking of hyperbole, no? Okay, but if it's less than 250,000, or at least 250,000 or less, there's no tax. Now, if it's over 250,000 but not over 400,000, there's a 20% tax. And yung in excess of the 250,000, so meron kang ayun. Yun na nga, yun. So 20% ang tax if it's excess over 250,000. So the range is between 250,000 but not over 400,000. Okay, so if it's 250,000, we said that there's no tax, but if it's more than 250,000, let's say 300,000, so that excess of 50,000, excess over the 250,000, which is 300 less 250,000, so 50,000, yun yung itatax ng 20%. And of course, other range kung saan nakapaloob yung pinaka income nung taxpayer. Okay, so ayan. So when we say taxable income, this is already yung bang minus na yung bawas na rito yung mga expenses, no? Like for example, yung mga of course contributions sa SSS, all those things, no? So bawas na yon. Okay, so without much ado, now let's go to some of the discussion. Now before we go into the discussion, no? So gusto ko lang malaman niyo na itong dito sa bagong taxation na to under the train law, wala classification whether it is yung bang single, married, head of the family, wala nang gano'n, no? At saka wala na yung mga sinasabi natin na mga halimbawa kung merong anak, no? So ano na yung kumbaga, it's all under resident citizen. Okay? Yun na yung pinaka-classification. So mas simple ang computation nito kaysa doon sa dati. Okay, now, paano ba natin malalaman kung ito'y isang yung bang tax under employment income? So, it is only said that compensation income means all remuneration. Okay, yung bang yung mga natatanggap, no, for services performed by an employee for his employer under an employee-employee relationship. This includes salaries, yan, sahod, wages, emoluments, and honoraria. Yan, allowances, commissions. Yan. So yung mga pati yung mga ika nga yung mga iba pang benefits, no? Okay, mga kung tawagin ito yung mga other perks bukod pa dun sa salary. So kasama 'yon, no? Okay, so this also includes fees including director's fees. So kung yung director sa isang korporasyon ay at the same time employee rin, no, of the employer corporation, taxable bonuses and fringe benefits except fringe benefits subject to fringe benefits tax. So that will be discussed in another session, no? Okay? And yung mga kasama dun sa tinatawag na de minimis benefits. Kasi ito yung mga de minimis benefits. Ito normally yung binibigay sa mga empleyado, yung mga, let's say, uniform. No? So, ano na siya, exempted siya sa tax. No? Okay. Now, what else do we have to know? Proceed to the next, which is the employee is a minimum wage earner. Now, pagka minimum wage earner, no, magkano ba talaga yung threshold para dun sa minimum wage earner? Maabot ba silang 250,000? No? Okay, let's see. Now, upon my research on Google, okay, it says here that the minimum wage in the Philippines is expected to reach 537 pesos per day by the end of 2021. Yan. So, ano 537 pesos now if that is computed, let's say for the next let's say 537 assuming na 30 days, no, which of course that is yung mga sobra na yun, no? Wala ng day off yun, no? So that's 16,110. So times 12, that would be 193,000. So exempted siya, no? Okay. So, for all intents and purposes, minimum wage earner is exempted from tax. Okay? So, filing lang ang kailangan dito. So, a minimum wage earner, MWE, refers to a worker in the private sector paid the statutory minimum wage or to an employee in the public sector with compensation income of not more than the statutory minimum wage in the non-agricultural sector where he or she is assigned. Okay, so those are just some of the salient features as far as the compensation earner. So when we say compensation earner dito, so isa lang yung source of income niya. This is not a mixed earner. This is just yung bang ano lang niya, yung sahod lang niya. Okay, and din yung mga sinasabi rito. Yan, like salaries, wages, emoluments, those things, no? Okay. So, let's look at the final tax, final income. Ito bukod pa doon sa mga yung mga salary which is under the train law, okay, yung sa graduated tax. And meron pa yung mga final taxes, no? Okay, so these are final tax rates on certain income of resident citizen of the Philippines. So interest from currency, bank, interest na nakukuha niya doon, let's say sa BPI or sa BDO, and yield or other monetary benefits from deposit substitutes. So yung mga trust funds and similar arrangements. So that's about 20%. Okay? 20%. So kung magkano, let's say kumita ng 1,000 yung interest. So may bawas na kagad yun sa makikita lang sa passbook, meron ng bawas yun. So kung 1,000 niya, that's about 20%. So merong i-debit nila yung 200 pesos because that is the equivalent of 20% of the final tax. So hindi na sinasama yan doon sa computation ng compensation income, no? Okay. So we call it final tax. And then next is yung interest received by an individual except a non-resident individual from a depository bank under the expanded foreign currencies bank system. So that's 15%. And ano pa yung kanyang final tax? Yung pang royalties, exempt royalties from books and other literatures, works on musical compositions, so may 20% na tax yun, no? Okay? So, except yung mga singer dyan, yung mga literary works, musical compositions, no? Okay, so huwag kayong mag-alala, hindi kayo subject dyan sa 20% na yan. Okay? Huwag matakot. Okay? And then yung next naman is yung royalties from books on or and other literary works and compositions, 10%. Ayan. So, it pays to no tax, no? Okay, kasi pag may alam ka, no, lamang ang mas may alam. No? So, you have to approach that in a more rational way. No? Okay. Okay, and then next is yung prices. Exempt prices amounting to 10,000 pesos or less. That's about 20%, no? Yan. So, ito yung mga, let's say, mga prices, let's say, sumali ka sa mga contest, no? Okay, except yung mga prices na, na mga, or let's say, sa company, yung mga merong mga, let's say, mga, alam niyo naman, yung mga sa pa-contest, no? Sa company. So may mga winnings, prizes. So ang rate nila is 20%, except those that are amounting to 10,000 or less. Ayan, dun sa prizes na yun. So if it's 10,000 or less, no? So subject siya doon sa train law, yung graduated income tax table yung pinakita natin sa taas kanina. And then pagka naman winnings, except yung sa PCSO, except yung PCSO, so that is 20% din, no? Final tax yan, no? Okay, and then cash and property dividend, that is about 10%. Tapos yung capital gains from sale of share of stock of a domestic corporation not traded in this local stock exchange is 15%. So these are just some of the final taxes. And then capital gains from sale of real estate located in the Philippines, so the selling price or the fair market value, whichever is higher. So that's 6%. No? So these are just some of the yung bang mga final taxes para doon sa isang resident citizen of Philippines. No? Okay. So, and another one is ito, proceeds of preterminated long-term depositor investment in the form of savings, common or individual trust funds, deposit substitutes, investment management accounts, and other investments evidenced by certificates as prescribed by Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So, pagka let's say yung bang more than 5 years, yung bang hindi niya pre-terminate, walang tax yun. Okay, pero pagka pre-terminate niya, let's say, of course, kinuha ka niya kagad yung proceeds, so may tax siya. If it's between, ito investment. So these are long-term investments. So if it's 4 years but less than 5 years, so that would be about 5% yung tax. If it's 3 years but less than 4 years, that's 12%. And if it's less than 3 years, that's mas malaki yung tax, no? Okay, kung pre-terminate niya ng mas maaga, so that's about 20% tax on proceeds. Now, let's give an example yung para yung sa computation. Okay, to further reinforce our learning. So, number one is, we got 3 examples. Huh? Okay, so this is number 1. So, Mr. Cruz had the following data in a given year. So, taxable income, that's 280,000 pesos. And yung kanyang 13th month na pay and other benefits, that's 105,000. Okay, so and then yung SSS. Now, kung titignan natin dito, dun sa 13th month, there is an exempt for the first 90,000, no? Okay, now ito umabot siya ng 105. So, yung first 90,000, that's exempt. Pero yung, of course, over that 90,000 is already taxable na yan, no? Plus, in addition dito sa compensation income niya na umabot na ng 280,000. So, obviously, may tax na to, no? And then SSS contribution, that's mandatory deductions, no? Okay, and then yung interest from currency bank deposit with BPI, so that is final tax yan, so 20%. Kasama ba natin yan? Dun sa pag-compute ng ating income tax, no? Hindi yata. Okay. Binibigyan ko na kayo ng tip, no? Capital gains from sale of shares of stock not traded in the stock exchange. So, I think kasama rin siya dito, you know, yung sa final tax. So, pagkakasama sa final tax, hindi na natin siya sinasama sa computation ng income tax due. Okay? Kasi otherwise, madodoble yung tax. Gusto mo ba dumoble yung bayad mo ng tax? No? Okay, hindi na. Okay. So, just leave it alone. No? Okay, now, prizes in a raffle contest. Ito. Okay, medyo ano to, no? Kasi nakalagay dito sa final tax, no? Okay, again, pag sinabing final tax, you don't have to include that in the computation of your income tax due. Okay? So, meron siyang ano, kasi yung mismo ng institution ng nagta-tax diyan, no? Okay, so meron siyang threshold na exempt prices amounting to 10,000 or less. So, ibig sabihin, 10,000 yon yung kanina nakita natin, no? Okay, so hindi siya subject sa 20%. Saan siya subject, no? Okay, so doon siya subject malamang doon sa graduated income tax table. Okay, so no? Now let's proceed to the example so we can apply what we have learned in those theories or in those dito sa mga given na to, no, a while ago, no, what we have learned dun sa concept, no. Okay, so Mr. Cruz had the following data in a year. So yung taxable compensation income niya is 280,000. Now, as you can see here, ang sabi natin dito, no, using this tax table yung under train law, if it's not over 250,000, then it is accepted from tax. Now, since it's 280,000, it must be included in may taxable portion siya. Okay, now yung next is yung 13th month pay and other benefits exempt from income tax. So that's 105,000. Now, this statement is quite a gray area kasi 13th month pay, no? Kasi there's an exempt for the first 90,000, there's an exempt of 90,000 doon sa 13th month, no? Of course, over that is already taxable. However, dito hindi sinabi kung ano yung portion ng 13th month. Basta sinabi lang dito 13th month pay and other benefits exempt from income tax. So, let's assume na lahat yung 105 na yan is exempted, no? Unless sinabi niya yung 13th month is about 100,000. So in which case we will tax yung over dun sa 90,000, no? Okay. And then the next one is yung SSS. Of course, deduction niya, no, from yung sa compensation. So these are mandatory deductions, no? Okay, and then the next is yung interest from currency bank deposit with BPI. So sabi natin kanina, pagka final tax, hindi na natin isinasama doon sa computation ng income tax due. Kasi ito na, final tax na siya. So ingat ka dyan, no? Kasi pagka final tax, yung mismong institution na yung nagbabawas. So if you will notice, pagka doon sa, let's say, doon sa interest sa bangko, okay, so pag kumita ka, let's say for example, 1,000 pesos yung interest mo. So meron ng itatax na kagad yun ng bangko, yung 20% which is 200 pesos, no? So naka-debit na yon, no? So that is the final tax. Okay, so we need not include this dun sa computation ng income tax, no? Because this is already included dun sa final tax. Okay, and then next is yung capital gain from sale of share of stocks not traded in the stock exchange. So that's about 30,000. So if it's 30,000, so nakalagay dito, so meron nata rito, no? So this is also final tax, no? So hindi na rin natin kailangan isama dun sa computation ng ating compensation income. tax. And then yung the last one, which is prizes in a raffle contest. So 10,000 pesos. Now, this is also part of the final tax. However, it says here that pagka raw 10,000 or below, so hindi siya kasama dito. It's not included in the final tax of 20%, no? So saan siya included itong ano na to, itong prices na to, no? Okay, so sa ano na to? This is included dun sa pag-compute na ng income tax yung sa of course dito sa under the train law yung graduated income tax. So okay, now let's go to the solution. Okay, so ito yung pinapakabang-abangan mo, no? So let's compute for the income tax of Mr. Cruz. So we'll start with the compensation income. Yan. So this is about 280,000 as we saw a while ago. Now, ano pa yung i-add natin aside from the compensation income, yung kasama na ita-tax rin, no? Okay, now, normally, pagka wala itong ano na to, itong yung prizes in a raffle contest, pwede na tayong dumiretso. So, ililes na natin siya, ililes na natin yung 5,000 na contributions. Now, for the sake of including it para makuha natin yung taxable income, isasama natin ngayon yung prizes. So, i-add natin. So, we will add here, okay, prizes in a raffle contest. Okay, so 10,000 kasi hindi siya nag-qualify as part of the final tax because ang sabi rito, nakalagay dito sa prizes are generally taxed at 20% final tax except prizes amounting to 10,000 or less. So 10,000 yung prizes, yung prize niya, ito, yung sa raffle contest. So mapapasama siya doon sa pag-compute ng kanyang compensation income tax or yung income tax due niya rito, no? Kasi hindi na siya final tax. So this would be yon. So kukunin natin yan. So this is 10,000. Ayan. Contest, prize and raffle contest. We will now include yung yung less. We will deduct the mandatory deduction, yung 5,000 yung contribution from SSS. So that would be 5,000, no? Okay, so this would be kunin natin. So this would be 280,000 plus 200 plus this one yung i-add natin yung prizes in raffle contest. Okay, and then we deduct the mandatory deduction. So 280 plus 10,000, that's 290 less 5,000, that's about 285. Oh, magic. Yeah. 285,000. So this would be the taxable income. Now, kukumputin natin, titignan natin ngayon dito sa graduated tax table under the train law which is effective 2018 until December 31 of next year, 2022. So, dito siya, ang range niya is between over 250,000 but not over 400,000 kasi 285 siya as we saw here a while ago, no? Okay, ayun, 285. So, ito yung range niya. Okay, so over 250,000 but not over 400,000. So, yung excess ng nung over 250,000 which is 285 less 250,000, that's about 35,000 will be multiplied by 20%. Okay? Na tax rate. So yun yung magiging tax niya. So lalagay natin dito. Okay, so we will compute here. So tax is okay, so for yung ano siya 285,000, no? Okay, 285,000. Okay. So for the first 285,000, so iano natin diyan okay, which is in excess of 250,000. Tax is ano yung excess nun? So 285,000, ayun, nakikita natin sa taas. 285,000 less na lang natin dito sa 250,000. Ayan. So that would be 35,000. Okay? Now, multiply natin to dun sa rate niya, which is nakalagay dito as per this table. So, ayan. So that's 20%, no? In excess of 250,000. Kasi yung range niya, it's between 250,000 but not over 400,000. Yun yung range ng kanyang taxable income. Okay? So, depende yan kung ano yung range ng taxable income na natin ibabase. Okay, so that's about 35,000, no? Yung excess. So, times 20%, no? Okay, so that's multiply this by 20%. Okay, so that's 35,000 times 0.2. So the tax is 7,000 pesos. Ayan. Okay, now, paano naman ito mga yung final tax? Ito yung mga currency. Of course, we said a while ago, final tax na sila. Na-i-tax na doon sa bangko, sa institution. No? Okay, so no need to place that sa ating So the tax is 7,000 of from the compensation. Yan. So lagay natin, i-double rule na natin. So yan yung sagot. Yan. Gusto mo kulaya mo pa para yan, para alam mo yan yung sagot. Okay? 7,000. Now, let's go now dun sa next, no. Mr. Aguilar has the following data in a year. So compensation income, that's yung salary niya is 250,000 pesos. Sumakto lang doon sa okay, dito sa threshold, no? Tapos yung contribution niya to SSS, PhilHealth, and HDMF, that's 5,000. So that's a mandatory deduction. 13th month pay is 15,000. Okay, so magkano raw yung tax ni Mr. Aguilar? So kunin natin So umpisa tayo dun sa compensation income na 250,000. Now, dun sa mandatory deduction, ililess natin yung contribution. Okay? Yung mandatory contribution na 5,000 pesos. Okay, now, etong 13th month pay, it's only 15,000. So definitely, pasok na pasok siya dun sa threshold na 90,000. So that will also be exempt. So 15,000. So you add this to 5 plus 15 is 20,000. So you deduct it from the compensation income of 250,000 and you will get yung ating this is the taxable income. Yan. So this is the yan. So we get the taxable income of 230,000 after deducting the 20,000 mandatory contribution and exempt benefits. So from there, titignan natin dito sa taas kung meron siyang kung kasama siya sa tax. Now, since 230,000 lang yon and 250,000 yung threshold, so not over 250,000, there is a zero tax, no? So magkano yung tax niya? Of course, no? Okay, baka mag-compute ka pa diyan, no? So zero. Yan. Kasi well, it's below the 250,000 na threshold. So there's no tax there. Okay? So if you have any questions, if you want anything that you want to clarify, okay, so just leave a comment, and of course, any suggestions would also do if you want another topic that we will discuss, especially with taxation and accounting. So of course, subscribe and of course, share this information to your friends and like. Okay, so God bless, stay safe, and stay healthy.